The species known as humanity has earned themselves a bunch of nicknames. They are often called something like humans the killers, humans the cursed, or even humans the world burners. All because of one simple yet sinister truth. Where humans go, they carry death. It all stems from the main difference they have from most other civilizations, their upbringing. There was a reason writers and poets across the galaxy gave Earth, the human homeworld, the nickname Death World. Though a planet famous for extreme biodiversity, it has untold amounts of life forms that thrive by fighting and killing. The humans survived their world through battle too. Since their rise as a species, they fought, never given a peaceful break. When it is a question of living or going extinct, what other choices does one have? Our historic records show an ancient period where our world was also ridden with foes seeking to wipe us out, but we eventually developed a weapon that left them no chance. Outmatched and suppressed in the race for survival, those foes went extinct, or in rare cases, evolved into other life forms. Our weapon fell into disuse and became obsolete, as there was simply nothing left for us to use it on. Similar tales can be told about other civilizations. They either overpowered their killers and wiped them out, or wiped out themselves, never leaving their homeworlds. The humans, however, because of their rich and ever-changing biosphere, coexist with countless enemies to this day, fighting them relentlessly, honing and improving their weapon against the new defensive mechanisms of their opponents. The name of that weapon? Cellular immunity. It is not an overstatement to say that their entire home planet, its lush forests and deep oceans, even the air they breathe, is crawling with disease. The humans, having always lived with countless species invading and populating their bodies, spend their whole lives fighting off that disease. Sometimes, weakened by external factors or unprepared for a particularly new invader, they become sick, allowing those foes called pathogens to gain a temporary advantage that visibly affects their well-being. Most of the time, they recover on their own, or with the help of medicine, their body beating the invaders back but never exterminating them fully, until one day the human grows too old and weak and succumbs. Another battle against disease becoming their last. But until that day comes, they live their lives with trillions of microscopic inhabitants on their surface and within them, mostly unbothered. Unfortunately, Earth species are pretty much the only ones wielding immunities powerful enough to keep those inhabitants at bay. What is, most of the time, not even an annoyance to them, is a violent mixture of bioweapons to other species, powerful enough to threaten the existence of entire civilizations. Where humans go, they carry death. What makes it even more tragic is how that curse contradicts the whole human nature. Their curious, kind and caring souls suffer under the crushing guilt of being the reason for countless deaths. They were so excited to shake hands with the Earth Alliance, the first alien species they met. That excitement turned into devastation as they watched bacterial infections ravage through the unprepared population, unable to help, as human medicine at the time was too powerful for the locals to handle. Another example is the tragedy of Hatley, where the people of Earth thought they've taken the needed precautions to stay away from locals when they set up their station, but an improper sanitation protocol led to a life form they call fungus escaping from their food into the local ecosystem, eventually taking it over. The resulting famine was so awful that the planet's name now has an idiomatic meaning, along the lines of place of pain and suffering in several languages. Because of such interactions, most species fear humans. The human expression, avoid like the plague, pretty much sums up the way they are currently treated. Those who do engage in trade with them do so with religiously redundant safety protocols, and only when no favourable options are available. I suspect that the reason none so far has waged war against humanity is because of the fear of what they may unleash if someone does. If that is what humans bring when they do their best not to hurt anyone, what unfathomable horrors do they have in store for when they need to display their wrath? And yet they do not give up. They stay human, working day and night to help those hurt by their initial carelessness and help some more. They wipe the blood off their hands and use those hands to create and rebuild, outshining their accidental destructiveness. It is human biologists that brought forth more efficient crops that will eventually prevent more hunger-related deaths that the Hatley incident has caused. It is human physicists and engineers that invented new suits and bases for hostile environments, now allowing more species to venture further in their expeditions and meet each other. I am proud of my predecessor's struggle that led us to coexisting with their species, albeit without much personal interaction. Thanks to the human discoveries made together with my kind in the research base on my planet, plenty of lives were saved, and who knows how many more will be. Some civilizations may be too blind to see beyond the repulsive and deadly microbiomes of human bodies, but not for us. For it was humans that answered our calls for help when we needed it the most. The storms of destruction were exactly what they sound like. The worst storms our city has ever seen. Buildings toppled, vehicles flung through the air, high-speed impacts mutilating everyone who did not find cover in time. One of those unlucky ones happened to be my daughter. She was badly injured and everything looked like she was not going to make it. A hospital simply did not have enough resources in a catastrophe like that. But in our darkest hour, a light of hope shone through the storm. She was saved by a human, as their research viewed our underwhelming immunity not as a weakness, but as a strength, allowing our kind to receive human blood after some quick processing. If I was told as a child that I get to see alien blood used by our doctors to save our lives, I would think it's made up nonsense, yet here we are. Alien blood is the reason my daughter is alive, joyful, and when the day comes for her to settle on a name, it's probably going to pick a human one. I will forever cherish the happy day she was discharged from the hospital, but even more than that, I cherish the day we arranged a meeting with the human who saved her life. We had to go for a ridiculous amount of safety checks, but it was all worth it when the sanitation room airlock opened. Out he stepped, more than twice my size, completely covered by the airtight suit, having to get down on a knee in order to receive the hug from my fearless little offspring. And then, of course, me. "Thank human alien you. Gave hope," she said in messy, hastily learned human galactic. "No worries, little one. I've got you," replied the alien, before his voice got too unstable to talk. At first I was a little confused because of the suit, but those instabilities in his breath spoke more than any words ever will. In those barely noticeable shakes, I felt what his kind felt. Everything all at once. Oh, how I wish I could look into the hero's face in person, unobstructed by any helmet or visor, and hug him directly, without any soulless barriers of protective equipment. And not just him. All of his kind. The feared, the tragic, the lonely. And I am so sorry. I cannot. For where humans go, they carry death. But they carry more than that. Much more.